Freedom tastes like ash in his mouth. Astarion stands over Cazador's corpse, watching the blood pool beneath the ritual circle. 200 years of torment ended in a single thrust of a blade. The other spawn are screaming, celebrating, weeping. He hears none of it. His hands are steady. His heart, long dead, feels nothing where rage once burned. He should feel triumphant. He should feel released. Instead, there is only silence where chains used to rattle. The companions offer him comfort. Gentle words, promises that he is safe now, that he can begin again. Astarion smiles that practiced smile, the one that has saved his life 1,000 times, and tells them he needs air. They let him go. They always do. No one wants to stare too long at a monster, even one they call friend. Outside, Baldur's gate sleeps beneath a sky choked with smoke and distant screams. The city has its own wounds. He wonders if freedom is supposed to feel this hollow, this vast and directionless. For 2 centuries, every moment was defined by Cazador's will. Hunt. Seduce. Bring them back. Obey or suffer. Now there is no will but his own, and he does not know what that will wants. He walks without purpose, letting his feet choose the path. The streets are familiar. He has walked them 1,000 times, always hunting, always performing. Now they feel alien, as though the city itself has forgotten him. Or perhaps he has forgotten how to exist without a leash. The sun will rise soon. He should find shelter. Old instincts, those ones that predate Cazador, whisper warnings. But he stops in an abandoned courtyard, staring at the sky, and wonders what dawn would feel like on skin that has not seen it in lifetimes. The tadpole in his skull is gone. The illithid threat ended. The protection it offered, stripped away. He is vampire again. Only vampire. The hunger is already building, that old familiar ache, but it feels different now. Before it was desperation. Now it is simply fact. He sits on a crumbled wall and laughs. It sounds bitter even to his own ears. A voice interrupts the silence. Not spoken. Not heard. Felt. It reverberates through his bones, through the stone beneath him, through the air itself. The ritual circle in Cazador's palace, the one meant to ascend a master into godhood, pulses with light he should not be able to see from here. Astarion turns. The sky above the palace splits, not metaphorically, not symbolically. The fabric of reality tears like parchment, and beyond it is a darkness that makes the underdark look like candlelight. Colors that have no name rive in the wound. Screams pour out, but they are not sounds. They are sensations, clawing at the inside of his skull. He runs. Instinct, again. Always running. But the courtyard stretches, distances becoming meaningless. The ground beneath his feet turns liquid, then solid, then something that is both and neither. His vampiric speed means nothing when space itself refuses to cooperate. The rift expands. Tendrils of unlight reach for him, and he recognizes the touch. It is the same energy that saturated Cazador's ritual, the same power the old monster tried to claim. But this is older, vaster. It does not care about ascension or ambition. It simply is, and it is hunger. Astarion tries to scream a warning, tries to call for his companions, but his voice dissolves before it leaves his throat. The tendrils wrap around him, not touching his body but something deeper. His essence. His self. For a moment, he feels Cazador's chains again, that soul-deep violation of will, and terror floods him like ice water. Then he is pulled through. The transition is not movement. It is unmaking. Every cell, every thought, every memory is stripped away and examined by something that should not exist. He sees his own death the night Cazador turned him. He sees every victim he lured to their doom. He sees the moment he chose mercy over power, the moment he let Cazador die instead of taking his place. The presence dissects him with curiosity that borders on malice. It whispers questions without words. What are you? Why do you persist? What makes you believe you deserve to choose? Astarion wants to answer, wants to rage, wants to beg. But he has no mouth, no form, no substance. He is thought without vessel, and even his thoughts are fragmenting. Then, without ceremony, he is discarded. He crashes into existence like a stone through glass. Solid ground beneath him.
Air and lungs that do not need it.
A body that remembers how to hurt. He gasps, choking on atmosphere that tastes wrong, chemical and thick. When his vision clears, he sees a sky that has never known sun. Above him, vast and rotating, is a storm of colors that should not exist together. Crimson and violet and shades of green that make his eyes water. Lightning arcs between formations that are not clouds, and in the flashes he sees shapes.
Faces, claws,
Eyes that track his movement with interest that feels like hunger. He stands, legs shaking, and looks around. The ground is black stone, smooth as glass, reflecting the madness above.
There is no horizon.
The landscape simply fades into distance that might be miles or might be inches. Structures rise in the middle distance, towers of bone and metal fused in ways that defy physics.
A sound reaches him. Laughter.
Beautiful and terrible, echoing from everywhere and nowhere. It speaks in a language he has never heard but understands perfectly.
Welcome, little spawn.
Welcome to the realm of gods and monsters. Welcome to the place where chains are worn with pride and suffering is sacrament.
Astarion laughs back. It is not defiant. Not yet.
It is the sound of something breaking inside him. Some last fragile hope that freedom would mean safety. He has escaped one hell only to fall into another. But this time, he tells himself as the laughter fades, this time I will not kneel. The darkness around him shifts, attentive, amused.
It does not believe him. Not yet.
The voices come softly at first. Astarion walks across the impossible landscape, each step echoing in ways that make no sense. Sound should not travel like this, should not curve back on itself and whisper his own footsteps into his ears with a delay that feels mocking. The storm above churns, casting light that changes the color of his skin from pale to violet to sickly green. He needs to find shelter. Old instincts, survivor instincts.
But there is no shelter here.
The structures in the distance seem closer and farther away simultaneously, and when he tries to approach them, the ground shifts beneath his feet. That is when the first voice speaks.
Poor thing.
Lost and alone. We can help you.
It sounds like a lover's whisper.
Gentle, concerned. The voice of someone who sees him, truly sees him, and wants nothing but his happiness. Astarion stops walking. He knows that tone. He has used it himself 10,000 times. The air before him shimmers, and a figure emerges. Beautiful beyond description. Gender fluid as water, shifting between masculine and feminine and something transcendent. They wear silk that moves like living liquid, and their smile promises everything he has ever wanted. You have suffered so much, the figure says, stepping closer.
Centuries of pain.
Abuse.
Violation.
You deserve pleasure, sweetling. You deserve to take without asking, to indulge without guilt. I can give you that. Freedom from consequence. Freedom from shame. Astarion stares at the figure. Memories surface, unbidden. Cazador's voice in his ear. You will bring them back, boy, or you will learn new definitions of pain. The false smiles.
The practiced seduction.
The victims who trusted him because he made them feel desired. He has heard this offer before.
Different words, same poison.
No, he says simply. The figure's smile does not falter. They tilt their head, curious.
No. But you have not even heard the full offer. Imagine, darling.
Imagine feeding on anyone you wish.
Imagine beauty that makes mortals weep.
Imagine never fearing the sun again, never fearing anything.
All I ask is that you embrace what you are. A predator. Perfection incarnate.
Astarion laughs. It is a cold sound, empty of humor. I have spent 200 years being what someone else wanted me to be.
I am not interested in new management.
The figure's expression flickers. For just a moment, something else shows through. Something vast and hungry and utterly inhuman. Then the mask returns, but Astarion has already seen the truth. The figure dissolves like sugar in rain, and the voice retreats, but not far. It lingers at the edge of hearing, whispering promises to the air itself. Another voice rises to replace it.
This one is different. Calculated. Intellectual.
It does not promise pleasure. It promises understanding. The air warps, and a new figure appears. Robed in ever-changing colors, its face hidden behind a mask that shows a different expression every time Astarion blinks. The figure holds a book that writes itself, pages turning without wind.
Knowledge, the figure said.
You want to understand, do you not? Why you were brought here? How to return? How to ensure no one ever controls you again? I offer answers, Astarion. I offer the power to reshape reality itself. Think of it. No more being victim to fate. You become the architect.
Astarion considers this one longer.
Knowledge has always been his weapon. Information, leverage, the careful mapping of weakness and strength. He survived Cazador by learning his patterns, his moods, the exact angle to hold his smile to avoid punishment.
But he remembers something else.
He remembers standing in Cazador's ritual chamber, the power to ascend within reach. He remembers his companions trusting him to choose. He remembers the weight of 7,000 souls, all of them just like him.
Victims. Spawn.
Expendable. He remembers choosing to let that power die.
What is the price?
He asks. The figure pauses.
Price?
There is always a price. I have paid enough of them.
So tell me, what do you take in exchange for this knowledge? The figure's mask cycles through expressions. Confusion.
Amusement.
Respect. Finally, it settles on something that might be a smile.
Everything, it says simply.
Your past, your future, your very identity. You would become change incarnate, forever shifting, never static, never certain of who you are. Astarion feels a chill that has nothing to do with temperature. He has spent 2 centuries not knowing who he is. He has only just begun to discover the shape of himself beneath the masks. The thought of losing that fragile new self is worse than any torture Cazador inflicted.
No, he says again. The figure does not argue.
It simply fades, and the book closes with a sound like a world ending. 2 more voices come. One offers him rage without limit, violence without consequence, the chance to make the entire universe bleed for what was done to him. The other offers him rest, sweet decay, the peace of surrender. No more fighting.
No more choosing. Just acceptance.
Astarion refuses them both.
Not because he is strong. Not because he is good.
But because he recognizes the pattern. Every voice, every offer, every promise is the same lie wearing a different face. They offer freedom while demanding submission. They promise choice while requiring surrender. He has lived this before. The voices recede, but they do not leave. They linger at the edges of his perception, watching, waiting. The storm above churns faster, and in its depths he sees eyes.
Thousands of them. Millions.
All fixed on him with an interest that feels like pressure against his skin.
Something has changed.
The voices came expecting an easy conversion, a soul broken and desperate. Instead, they found scars that have hardened into armor. They found someone who has already learned the most dangerous lesson, how to say no to gods. The landscape shifts. The ground beneath Astarion's feet solidifies, becoming almost real. A path forms, leading away from the storm towards something that might be an exit. He does not trust it. But he walks anyway. Because standing still has never saved him. And because for the first time in 200 years, he is choosing his own direction. Even if he has no idea where it leads. Astarion wakes to the smell of rot and rust. Not the warp.
Something real.
Solid. The ground beneath him is metal, cold and corroded. His fingers scrape across it, finding texture, finding filth. Above him, a sky choked with industrial smog glows dull orange from fires he cannot see. He sits up slowly, every movement cautious. His body feels intact, functional, but the memory of being unmade in the warp still clings to his thoughts. For a moment he simply breathes, testing whether air still works the same way.
It does.
It tastes like ash and chemicals, but it fills his lungs.
Around him a city rises. No, not a city.
A hive. Structures stacked upon structures, metal and stone fused into towers that vanish into the smog above. Walkways crisscross the air like spider webs, and distant figures move across them, hunched and hurried.
He hears voices.
Human voices.
Shouting. Crying.
The sounds of crowds and machinery and desperation.
It is almost comforting in its familiarity. Cities he understands. Crowds he can navigate.
This is not the madness of the warp. This is civilization, however broken. Astarion stands, brushing rust from his clothes. They are torn, stained, but still recognizable. His daggers are still at his belt.
Small mercies.
He tests his body, checking for injuries, for changes.
Everything seems functional.
The hunger is there, quiet for now, but present.
He needs information.
Needs to understand where he is, what rules govern this place. Needs to find prey that will not be missed.
Old habit.
They return so easily. He moves into the shadows, instinct guiding him. The streets, if they could be called that, are narrow and winding. Crowds pressed together, thousands of humans packed into spaces meant for hundreds. They wear rags and crude work uniforms, their faces hollow with exhaustion. Many bear scars. Some are missing limbs, replaced with crude mechanical substitutes. No one notices him. They are too focused on survival, on moving to wherever they need to be. Astarion slips through them like smoke, listening, observing. The conversations he overhears are strange. They speak of the Emperor as though he is a living god. They speak of tithes and quotas, of production numbers and ration lines. They speak of heretics and xenos with a hatred that feels religious.
This is not Faerun, not even close. He catches fragments of information.
This world is called Tertium. A hive world. A factory. Its only purpose is production, feeding resources to something called the Imperium. The people here are born, work, and die without ever seeing natural sky. Astarion feels a strange kinship with them. He too knows what it means to exist only for another's purpose.
Night falls, or what passes for it.
The smog darkens.
Work shifts change.
Astarion follows the crowds to their hablocks, watching as they disappear into warrens of rusted metal. He waits until the streets thin, then chooses his prey. A man. Alone. He walks with purpose down a side passage, away from the crowds. Astarion follows, silent, patient. When the moment comes, he strikes. The man does not even have time to scream. Astarion's hand covers his mouth, fangs finding throat with practiced precision. The blood flows hot and rich, and for a moment, the hunger quiets. But then he tastes it. The blood is wrong. Contaminated. Chemicals and toxins saturate every drop, the residue of a lifetime breathing poisoned air and eating synthetic rations. It sustains him, but barely. He drops the body, grimacing. Even feeding is harder here. As he wipes his mouth, he notices something. A mark on the man's neck.
A tattoo.
3 overlapping circles, crude but deliberate. He has seen marks like this before, back in Baldur's Gate. Gang signs. Identifier. He searches the body. Finds a blade. Finds coins stamped with images of skulls and eagles. Finds a ledger, names and numbers.
Protection right.
Extortion.
Astarion smiles. Not a pleasant expression.
He has just fed on a predator. Someone who hurt others. The irony is not lost on him. Over the following days, he establishes a pattern. He hunts only those who hunt others.
Gang enforcers.
Corrupt overseers. The petty tyrants who make life worse for those already suffering.
It is not morality that guides him.
It is practicality. These victims will not be mourned.
Their disappearance will be seen as justice.
But something unexpected happens. Rumors begin to spread. Whispers in the hablocks, in the work lines, in the shadows where the desperate gather. They speak of a pale figure. A protector. Someone who kills the predators and leaves the innocent untouched. Some call him an angel. Others call him a ghost.
A few, those who have seen him, describe him with fear. Pale skin, red eyes.
Moves like death itself. The ecclesiarchy hears the rumors. Priests in red robes begin appearing in the lower hive, questioning workers, demanding answers.
They speak of demons and corruption. They promise purification through fire.
The Inquisition hears the rumors. Agents in unmarked clothing move through the crowds, watching, recording.
They set traps.
Bay. Criminals who are too obvious, too easy. Astarion avoids them. He has survived 200 years by knowing when a situation is wrong.
He changes his pattern, moves to different districts, feeds less frequently, but he cannot stop entirely.
The hunger does not allow it. One night, he finds himself in a collapsed section of the hive. The structures here are abandoned, too unstable for even the desperate to inhabit. He hears crying.
A child's voice.
Instinct tells him to leave.
Children are trouble.
They are noticed when they disappear. But something pulls him forward. He finds her in the rubble. A girl no more than 10, trapped beneath a fallen beam. Her leg is crushed.
She is dying slowly, and she knows it.
When she sees him, she does not scream. She simply stares with eyes that have already seen too much.
Please, she whispers.
Make it stop hurting.
Astarion crouches beside her.
He could feed.
She is dying anyway.
It would be a mercy in a way.
Quick, painless compared to bleeding out in the dark. But he sees Cazador in that choice.
He sees 200 years of doing what is easy instead of what is right. He lifts the beam.
His vampiric strength makes it possible, barely.
The girl gasps as pressure releases. He tears fabric from his own clothes, binds her leg as best he can. Then he carries her to the nearest inhabited section and leaves her where she will be found.
He does not wait for thanks,
does not even let her see his face clearly. But as he vanishes back into the shadows, he hears her voice, small and wondering, thanking the Emperor for sending an angel.
Astarion laughs.
Bitter.
Quiet.
He is no angel. But perhaps, in this rotting hell, even monsters can choose who they hurt. They come for him in the dead hours. Astarion wakes to the sound of boots on metal.
Too many boots. Too coordinated.
He is moving before conscious thought catches up, rolling from his makeshift shelter in an abandoned storage bay. His daggers are in his hands before his eyes fully open. The bay floods with light. Harsh.
Blinding.
Figures in armor move through the brightness, surrounding him with mechanical precision.
Not soldiers. Something else.
Their armor is black and red, marked with symbols that hurt to look at directly. Skulls and eagles inscribed in a language he does not recognize.
One figure stands apart, taller,
wrapped in robes that seem to absorb light.
When it speaks, the voice is flat, emotionless. You will submit. Resistance is heresy.
Astarion smiles. It is a reflex, a mask. I am afraid I have no idea what you are talking about. I am simply a lost traveler looking for directions to the nearest tavern. The figure does not respond to humor. It raises one hand, and Astarion feels pressure slam into his mind.
Not physical, psychic. Something is trying to pry open his thoughts, to read him like a book.
He has felt this before. The tadpole. The absolute.
Psychic intrusion is not new to him.
But this is stronger, more brutal.
It does not ask permission. It simply takes.
Astarion snarls, fighting back with every mental defense he has learned.
The pressure increases. His vision blurs.
Blood runs from his nose. Then, abruptly, the pressure vanishes. The figure stumbles back, and for the first time, emotion enters its voice.
What are you?
Other figures move forward. More robed forms. They surround him, and he feels multiple minds pressing against his own. They do not attack. They observe.
Dissect.
He feels them sorting through his memories, examining his scars, the shape of his trauma. One mind recoils. Then another. Soon they have all withdrawn, and the robed figures are speaking among themselves in urgent whispers.
Impossible. No corruption. No taint.
But the hunger, the nature, it should be demonic.
It should be abomination.
Astarion catches his breath, wiping blood from his face.
He is still surrounded, still trapped. But something has changed.
They are uncertain. The tallest figure, the first to speak, approaches again. This time its voice carries something that might be confusion. You are vampire,
Undead. Predator. These things are anathema.
They are corruption manifest. Yet your soul bears no mark of chaos.
How is this possible?
Astarion considers lying, then decides truth might be more useful. I did not choose what I am.
I was made this way.
By a master who enjoyed cruelty. But I destroyed him.
I chose to be more than his creature.
The figures exchange glances. Their body language suggests argument, debate.
Choice is irrelevant, one said. Nature is nature. Corruption is corrupt.
The Xenos, the mutant, the demon, all must be purged.
But he is none of those things,
Another argues. He is something else.
unknown. The Ordo Xenos has no classification.
The texts do not account for this. Then we bring him to questioning.
We determine the truth.
If he is clean, we release him.
If not, we cleanse.
The first figure turns back to Astarion. You will come with us. You will submit to examination. If you are innocent, you have nothing to fear. Astarion laughs.
It is not defiance.
It is exhaustion. He has heard this before too.
Every authority says the same thing. Trust us. Obey.
We only want the truth.
And if I refuse,
He asks.
then you die here. Now, it is not a threat. It is a statement of fact.
Astarion looks at the figures surrounding him.
Counts them. Assesses his chances. They are not good.
He is fast, but they are many. He could take some with him, but he would not escape.
Sometimes survival means choosing the slower death.
He lowers his daggers.
Very well.
But I want your word that if I am found innocent, I will be released. The figure does not hesitate.
You have it.
The Inquisition does not lie.
We seek truth. Nothing more, nothing less.
They bind him. Not with rope, but with devices that hum with energy. They burn where they touch his skin, and he suspects they are designed to contain something more than physical strength. They lead him from the storage bay, through passages that become cleaner, more maintained, until they reach a fortress he had not known existed within the hive. The architecture here is different.
Older.
Every surface is carved with symbols, skulls staring from walls, eagles with two heads guarding doorways. The air smells of incense and something else. Fear old and soaked into stone. They take him deep, into chambers lit by candles that never burn down. Into a room where chains hang from the ceiling and the floor is stained with substances he does not want to identify. The interrogation begins. They ask him everything. Where he came from. How he arrived.
What he has done. Why he feeds. Why he kills.
They ask him to describe his nature, his hunger, the voice of his master. They ask if he hears whispers. If he sees visions.
If he has made pacts. Astarion answers truth.
Not because he is noble, but because the psychers are listening.
They will know if he lies.
So he tells them about Cazador. About the centuries of abuse. About the scars on his back, the ritual circle, the moment he chose mercy over power. He tells them about the warp. About the voices. About refusing gods. The psychers listen. Their faces remain expressionless, but he feels their presence in his mind, confirming every word.
When he finishes, silence fills the room.
Finally, one of the robed figures speaks. He tells the truth.
Every word.
His soul is scarred, but not corrupted. He has been touched by the warp, but not claimed by it.
This is unprecedented.
Another figure, this one wearing symbols of authority, steps forward.
What do we do with him?
We cannot release a vampire into the Imperium.
But we cannot execute an innocent.
The first figure considers. Then, slowly, it removes its hood. Astarion sees a face marked by cybernetics.
Half flesh, half machine.
The human eye stares at him with something that might be respect. We release him.
But we watch.
If he proves worthy, perhaps he can serve. If not, we will know.
The bindings release.
Astarion stands, rubbing his wrists. He is free.
Again.
The dreams begin 3 nights after his release. Astarion does not sleep the way mortals do. His rest is shallow, a meditation more than true unconsciousness. But in the hive's perpetual gloom, in the quiet hours between shifts, he closes his eyes and finds himself somewhere else. The first dream is beautiful. He stands in a palace of mirrors and silk. Every surface reflects him, but each reflection is different.
One is left.
Another is powerful, crowned in gold. Another is free, standing in sunlight without burning. The palace smells of wine and roses and something deeper, something that bypasses thought and speaks directly to desire. A figure approaches. The same one from the warp, but more refined now.
More focused. They wear his face, but perfected.
Every flaw smoothed away. Every weakness erased.
You have been so strong, the figure says, voice like hot.
Resisting. Refusing. Choosing the hard path.
But why? What has righteousness given? Pain.
Loneliness. Hunger. I offer you pleasure without limit. Feed on who you wish.
Take what you desire.
Hurt those who hurt you.
No guilt. No shame. Only freedom.
The figure touches his face, and the sensation is electric. Every nerve ignites with pleasure so intense it borders on agony. He gasps, pulling back, but the sensation lingers. This is what you could feel always. No more hunger. No more pain. Just this.
Just bliss. All I ask is that you stop denying your nature.
Embrace what you are. A perfect predator. A creature of desire incarnate.
Astarion stares at the reflections.
He sees versions of himself indulging every impulse.
Feeding without discrimination.
Killing for pleasure. Taking whatever and whoever he wants.
In those reflections he sees Cazador.
He sees 200 years of victims. He sees the monster he could become if he stopped choosing otherwise. No, he says, and the dream shatters. He wakes gasping, his body aching with phantom pleasure. The hunger is worse now. Not for blood, but for sensation. For release. It takes every fragment of willpower to push it down. The second dream comes the next night. This time he stands in a library that extends infinitely in all directions. Books line shelves that reach into impossible heights. Each tome whispers secrets, promising understanding beyond mortal ken. The air hums with potential, with change waiting to be unleashed. The robed figure appears, mask cycling through expressions.
Knowledge, it says simply. You want to survive.
To thrive. To ensure no one ever controls you again. I offer you the tools.
Learn the secrets of this universe.
Master the warp.
Bend reality to your will.
You could return home. You could become a god. All you need to do is surrender your stagnation.
Become change itself.
Astarion walks through the library. His fingers brush book spines, and information floods his mind.
He sees the layout of the warp. Sees paths home.
Sees rituals that could grant him power beyond imagination. But each vision comes with a cost.
His face changed.
His memories blur. His identity becomes fluid, shifting, until he cannot remember who he was before. Cannot remember why he made the choices he made.
Cannot remember the names of his friends.
What good is power, he asks the figure, if I lose myself to gain it? The figure's mask settles on something like sadness. Then you will never be free. You will always be victim to forces greater than yourself. Perhaps, Astarion says, but at least I will be myself while I am victimized. The dream collapses. The third dream is rage. He stands on a mountain of corpses. Every person who ever hurt him.
Cazador on the summit.
The dream offers him a blade, endless and burning.
It whispers that he deserves vengeance.
That the entire universe deserves to bleed for what was done to him.
That mercy is weakness and forgiveness is surrender.
Kill them all, the voice says. Make them suffer as you suffered. I will give you strength without limit.
Rage without end. You will never be powerless again. Astarion looks at the corpses. He sees Cazador.
Sees the spawn who tortured him when they had the chance.
Sees every cruel overseer and petty tyrant.
He also sees the child he saved in the rubble. If I kill everyone who hurts others, he asks, when do I stop?
When is the debt paid?
When they are all ash, the voice says.
When nothing remains but you and silence.
And then what?
I am alone in a graveyard of my own making.
The voice has no answer.
Astarion lets the blade fall. The dream fades. The fourth dream is peace.
He lies in soft earth. Plants grow around him, beautiful and decaying.
The smell is rot and growth combined, the natural cycle of death feeding life. A voice, gentle and paternal, tells him he has fought enough.
He has suffered enough. He can rest now. Stop choosing. Stop struggling.
Just surrender to inevitability. Accept that you are a monster. Accept that the universe is cruel.
Stop trying to be better.
It only brings pain.
Rest. Decay. Become part of the cycle.
Astarion feels the pull.
Gods, he feels.
He is so tired.
Tired of choosing.
Tired of fighting his nature.
Tired of being afraid. But he remembers something. A conversation back in Faerun.
A companion asking him what he wanted. His answer, I want to be free.
Not just from Cazador. Free to choose.
If I surrender, he whispers, I am not free.
I am just choosing a different cage.
The dream tries to hold him.
Whispers that choice itself is illusion. That surrender is the only real freedom. Astarion tears himself away.
He wakes, truly wakes, and finds himself sobbing. Not from fear. From exhaustion. The dreams have shown him everything he has ever wanted.
Pleasure. Power.
Revenge.
Rest. And he has refused because he finally understands what freedom means. It is not the absence of pain. It is not power without consequence.
It is not even happiness. Freedom is the ability to choose, even when every option is terrible. Even when you are tired. Even when surrender would be easier. The dreams do not return. The chaos gods, vast and eternal, withdraw their attention.
Not because he has won,
but because they have learned something interesting. They have encountered souls that resist through faith,
through love,
through loyalty to something greater.
But this soul resists through spite,
through the simple, stubborn refusal to be owned.
It is not heroic, but it is novel.
And in a universe of stagnation and repetition, novelty is valuable. They do not claim him, but they do not forget him either. The chaos cult rises in the underhive like infection through a wound. Astarion hears the rumors first.
Disappearances. Entire families vanishing from hablocks.
Strange markings appearing on walls, symbols that make workers look away with sudden nausea. Whispers of a prophet promising liberation through transformation. He recognizes the pattern.
He has seen it before in the dreams. This is what chaos does.
It finds the desperate and offers them meaning. It takes suffering and gives it purpose. He should ignore it.
Should stay hid.
The Inquisition is still watching him, he is certain. Any involvement with a cult, even opposition, could mark him as tainted.
But he remembers the child in the rubble.
Remembers the workers who thanked him without knowing who he was. He has spent 2 centuries as a weapon in someone else's hand. Perhaps, just once, he can choose to be a shield instead. He hunts the cult.
It is not difficult.
They are emboldened, operating openly in the abandoned sections. He follows the symbols, tracks the disappearances, and finds them in a chamber deep below the functional levels. They have gathered around a makeshift altar, and the stench of blood is overwhelming. Astarion counts them. 30 cultists, maybe more in the shadows. They are armed with crude weapons, but they move with unnatural coordination.
Something is guiding them. Something is watching through their eyes.
He should retreat. Should report this to the authorities.
Instead, he attacks.
He is one predator against many, but he has advantages they do not expect.
Speed.
Silence.
200 years of experience hunting in darkness. He kills the sentries first.
Quick. Quiet.
drags the bodies into shadows before moving deeper. The cultists do not notice at first. They are too focused on their ritual. But when the first screams start, when their numbers begin to dwindle, panic sets in. Astarion does not give them time to organize. He moves through them like a ghost, daggers finding throats, vanishing before they can retaliate.
It is not glory. It is butchery. But it is effective.
Then the altar activates.
Reality tier.
A demon emerges. Not fully manifested, just a presence. Claws and eyes and too many teeth. It roars, and the sound is not heard but felt, reverberating through bone. Astarion stops. He has fought monsters before. Fought vampires and elithid and nightmares from the Underdark. But this is different.
This thing should not exist. Its very presence makes the air.
He prepares to die fighting. Then the wall explodes. Figures enter through the breach.
Massive.
Armored in ceramite plates marked with red crosses on white. They carry weapons that roar with chainsaw teeth, weapons that fire bolts of explosive ammunition. Each one is over 7 feet tall, moving with speed that should be impossible for something so large.
Space Marine.
Astarion has heard of them in passing. The Emperor's Angels.
Warriors beyond human.
He thought the stories were exaggeration.
They are not.
The demon turns toward the new threat, and the Space Marines open fire. The sound is deafening. Each bolt explodes on impact, tearing chunks from the demon's not quite physical form. It screams and lunges, claws raking across ceramite armor. One Marine steps forward, larger than the rest. He carries a sword wreathed in flame, and when he speaks, his voice amplifies through his helmet's Vox system.
For the Emperor. For the Imperium.
Purge the unclean. He swings. The blade cuts reality itself, and the demon shrieks as it is bisected. The pieces dissolve, pulled back into the warp, and the tear in reality seals.
Silence fall.
Broken only by the sound of burning.
The Space Marines turn.
They see the cultist corpses. They see the blood on Astarion's daggers.
They see him.
The large one, the leader, points his bolt pistol directly at Astarion's chest.
Identify yourself.
Astarion considers running. Knows he would not make it 3 steps.
So he does the only thing he can. He tells the truth. I am no one.
Just someone who could not ignore a cult killing innocence. The Marine does not lower his weapon.
You killed these heretics alone. I am harder to kill than I look.
The Marines exchange glances. Even through their helmets, Astarion can sense their confusion. Another Marine steps forward. This one carries a device covered in purity seals. He aims it at Astarion, and the device chirps, displaying readings Astarion cannot interpret.
No warp signature. No taint. But he is not human.
Not fully. The leader finally lowers his weapon.
What are you?
Astarion smiles.
Tired.
A monster trying very hard to be better. The Marines do not respond to humor. They confer in a language Astarion does not recognize, their voices too low for even his enhanced hearing. Finally, the leader turns back.
You fought chaos. You protected the innocent.
These are noble acts. But your nature is unknown. We cannot allow you to leave unsupervised.
Astarion sighs. Of course.
I help, and I get arrested.
Why does this keep happening?
You are not under arrest. You are under observation.
Come with us.
If you prove trustworthy, you will be released.
And if I do not?
Then you will be cleansed.
Be grateful we offer this much.
Our orders were to purge all tainted beings on sight. You are receiving mercy. Astarion looks at the massive warriors. Looks at their weapons.
Considers his option. He has very few.
I accept your generous offer, he says dryly. They escort him from the underhive. The remaining cultists flee, scattering into the darkness. The Marines do not pursue. Their objective is achieved. The demon is banished. The cult is broken. As they walk, the leader speaks again. His tone is different.
Curious.
You fought well. For a mortal. What is your name?
Astarion. And you, Brother Captain Aurelius. Second Company. We are the Blood Angels.
Astarion glances at the red drops on their white armor. Ironic name for vampires like me. Aurelius stops walking.
Turns. What did you say?
Astarion realizes his mistake. But the words are already spoken. Aurelius removes his helmet. Astarion sees a face of carved perfection. Noble. Beautiful. But the eyes are wrong.
I'll see.
Haunted. Struggling with something beneath the surface. You know what we are, Aurelius says quietly. Astarion meets his gaze. Recognizes the hunger there.
Recognizes the control.
I know what it is like to fight your nature every moment, he says. For the first time, something like respect crosses Aurelius's face. Then walk with us, monster. Let us see what kind of being you truly are. Tertium is dying. Astarion learns this slowly, piecing together fragments from overheard conversations and monitored Vox transmissions. The cult he helped destroy was not isolated. It was one cell of dozens. The planet's infrastructure has been compromised. Heresy has spread too deep, into the worker levels, into the administrative castes, even into the enforcers who were supposed to purge such things. The Inquisition has made its decision.
Exterminatus. Astarion does not understand the word at first.
When he asks, the explanation comes from a serf assigned to monitor him. The man's voice is flat, resigned. It means total annihilation. The Imperium will destroy the planet.
Every living thing, every structure.
The surface will be scoured clean by fire or virus or cyclonic warheads.
Nothing will remain. Astarion stares. You are going to kill everyone?
The innocent along with the guilty? The serf nods. It is the only way to be certain. Chaos cannot be allowed to spread. Better a billion dead than the galaxy consumed. How many live here? The serf checks a data slate. Current population estimate is 47 billion. Astarion feels something cold settle in his chest.
47 billion people.
The number is too large to comprehend. He has killed, yes.
Hundreds.
Maybe thousands over 2 centuries. But this is genocide on a scale that defies reason.
When?
He asks. 3 days. Evacuation transports are being arranged for essential personnel. Everyone else remains.
Who decides who is essential?
The serf looks at him as though the question is absurd.
The Inquisition. The Administrator.
Those who serve the Imperium. Astarion walks away before he says something that will get him executed. He finds Brother Captain Aurelius in the fortress's chapel. The Space Marine kneels before a statue of the Emperor, a figure in golden armor radiating light. Astarion does not interrupt. He simply waits. When Aurelius finally stands, he acknowledges Astarion without turning.
You have heard.
I have.
Are you truly going to let this happen?
It is not my decision. The Inquisition has authority in matters of faith and corruption. But you are here. You have power. You could stop this. Aurelius turns. His expression is calm, but something burns behind his eyes. To what end? If chaos has truly infested this world, then exterminatus is mercy. A quick death is better than corruption.
Better than mutation.
Better than eternal suffering in the warp. You do not believe that, Astarion says. I can see it in your face.
What I believe is irrelevant. I am a weapon of the Imperium. I serve. I have heard that before.
From slaves who could not imagine freedom. Aurelius's jaw tightens.
You overstep, vampire.
Do I?
You tell me you serve, but you kneel before a corpse on a throne and call it holy. You tell me 47 billion must die for certainty, but certainty is a lie.
You cannot cleanse chaos with fire. It will rise again. It always does.
So you kill a world, and for what? To feel like you have control? The chapel falls silent. Astarion expects violence. Expects to be struck down for blasphemy. Instead, Aurelius sits on a pew. The motion is so unexpected, so human, that Astarion hesitates before sitting beside him. You are not wrong, Aurelius says quietly.
I have walked this path for 2 centuries.
I have seen worlds burn. I have killed in the Emperor's name until I have lost count of the dead. And I have asked myself, does it matter?
Does any of it matter if we simply repeat the cycle?
Then why do you continue?
Because what is the alternative? Chaos must be opposed.
If not by us, then who? If we allow sentiment to stay our hand, corruption spreads. Eventually, there is nothing left to save.
Astarion considers this.
He understands duty born from trauma, understands the logic of choosing the lesser evil. But he also understands what it means to stop seeing people as individuals and start seeing them as numbers.
What if I do not leave?
He asks. Aurelius looks at him. You would die. Exterminatus is absolute.
I know. But I am tired of running.
I ran from Cazador for 200 years, never able to save any of the others.
I ran from the absolute, from every choice that mattered. I am not running again. This is not your world.
You owe these people nothing. I owe them the same thing anyone owes anyone. The choice to try.
Aurelius stands.
His expression is unreadable. If you stay, I cannot protect you. My brothers and I will evacuate with the Inquisition. The barrage will begin exactly 72 hours from now.
I understand. Then you are braver than most. Or more foolish.
I have not decided which.
Astarion smiles.
It is not bravery. It is spite. I refuse to let another master tell me who deserves to live.
Aurelius extends a hand. Astarion stares at it, then clasps it.
The Space Marine's grip is like iron, but there is respect in the gesture.
Die well, vampire. I intend to.
The next 3 days pass in a blur.
Astarion moves through the hive, warning those who will listen.
Most do not believe him.
Some riot.
Some pray.
Some simply continue working, unable to process the scale of their doom. Astarion does what he can. He guides families to smuggler ships. He bribes corrupt officials to add names to evacuation lists.
He kills overseers who try to prevent escape.
He saves thousands. It is not enough. On the final night, he stands on a platform overlooking the hive. Above, the sky tears open. Ships appear vast and terrible, their hulls bristling with weapons.
Astarion watches as the bombardment begins. Fire rains from the heavens. Not metaphor.
Actual burning death, cyclonic warheads that turn atmosphere into flame. The hive shudders.
Structures collapse.
Millions die in seconds. Astarion does not run. He stands, watching, bearing witness.
This is what the Imperium does.
This is the cost of its certainty. The flames reach his platform. He feels heat, real heat, for the first time in centuries. Feels pain as his body begins to burn. He closes his eyes.
Thinks of Cazador.
Of the companions who saved him.
Of the child in the rubble.
Thinks that at least he chose this. Then the fire consumes him, and everything is light. He wakes in darkness. Not dead.
Not ash. Somewhere else.
The warp has claimed him again. But this time it feels different.
Not hostile. Not hungry.
Curious.
He has done something the Chaos gods did not expect. He chose to die for nothing. For no reward. For no power. Simply because he refused to watch another home burn. And in a universe of transactional cruelty, such choice is worth noticing.
Astarion does not understand why he still exists.
He should be dead. Burned to atoms on tertium. Instead, he drifts in the warp, conscious but formless, aware of the madness churning around him but not touched by it. It is as though something is shielding him, keeping him separate from the entities that swim through this impossible space.
He does not trust it.
Time has no meaning here.
He might drift for seconds or centuries.
But eventually, the protection fades, and he is cast out once more. He crashes into reality on a world of perpetual twilight. The sky is bruised purple, and the ground is soft with moss that glows faintly. There are no cities here.
No hive.
Just forests that whisper with voices that are not quite wind. Astarion lies still, testing his body.
Everything functions. He is whole. Impossibly, he is alive. He sits up and finds he is not alone. A figure watches from the tree line. Humanoid but wrong. Its proportions shift as he looks at it, as though it cannot decide what shape to hold. When it speaks, the voice is layered, 1,000 whispers overlapping. You are persistent, little spawn. We have tried pleasure, knowledge, rage, rest, even death. And still you refuse. Why? Astarion stands slowly. He recognizes this presence. It is the same intelligence that pulled him from Tertium, the same curiosity that has been watching since he first entered the warp. Because I can, he says simply. The figure tilts its head. That is not a reason. That is a tautology. Then let me clarify. I refuse because every god, every master, every voice promising salvation has demanded I surrender in exchange. I am done surrendering. The figure steps closer. Its form solidifies slightly, becoming almost human. You think you fight gods? You are wrong. You fight nature. Chaos is not a force to be opposed. It is reality unfiltered. We are desire, change, rage, decay. We are what mortals are when the masks are stripped away. Astarion laughed. It is a bitter sound. I have worn masks my entire existence. I know what lies beneath them.
Fear. Pain.
The desperate need to survive. But masks are not lies. They are choices. I choose what face I show, and I choose not to show you worship. The figure stops. For a moment the layered voices fall silent. Then, quietly, it speaks again. You are wasted on mortality. You could be so much more. I am exactly what I want to be. A monster who chooses his victims. The figure dissolves, and Astarion is alone. But the encounter changes something. He realizes the Chaos Gods are not invincible. They are powerful, yes. Vast beyond comprehension. But they rely on worship, on submission, on souls that beg. He has found their weakness. They cannot claim what refuses to be owned. Astarion begins to move through the warp deliberately. He does not fight demons. He cannot. But he can disrupt their workings. He finds cults in the Imperium and kills their leaders before rituals complete. He finds demon contracts and voids them by killing the mortals who signed them. He spreads doubt among worshippers, asking questions that have no answers. Why do you serve beings who devour you? What have the gods given you that you could not take yourself? If they are divine, why do they need your faith to exist? It is not heroism. It is sabotage. Small acts of defiance that add up over time. The Chaos Gods notice. At first they are amused, then annoyed. Then, slowly, something shifts. They begin to see him not as a potential servant, but as an irritant. A splinter in the finger of eternity. Astarion learns to navigate the warp's current. He cannot control them, but he can ride them. He appears on worlds where chaos is rising and disrupts the tipping point. He saves those he can, kills those he must, and vanishes before the Inquisition arrives. He becomes a story, a myth. Different cultures describe him differently. Some call him a pale saint. Others call him a demon hunter. A few call him a vampire who preys on heretics. All of them are correct. The Imperium does not know what to do with him. The Inquisition has records of his interventions. Some inquisitors want him captured. Others argue he is a useful asset. A few suggest he is a test from the Emperor himself. Astarion does not care what they think. He is not fighting for the Imperium. He is fighting because he finally can. One night, he finds himself on a world consumed by a Slaaneshi cult. The population has descended into depravity, worshipping excess and cruelty. He walks through their temples invisible in shadow and plants seeds of doubt. What if pleasure is meaningless without context? What if freedom means nothing if you cannot choose restraint? The cult fragments. Without certainty, without absolute belief, their rituals fail. Demons manifest only to find no sustenance, no faith to anchor them. They dissolve, screaming. Slaanesh itself turns attention toward Astarion.
He feels the gaze, vast and suffocating.
Feels the dark prince's amusement curdle into rage.
You dare, the voice whispers.
You are nothing.
A broken toy. You think you defy me? I do not think, Astarion replies, speaking into the void.
I know. You offered me everything, and I spat in your face.
That is all you need to understand. The presence withdraws, but not before Astarion feels something unexpected.
Fear.
Not of him specifically,
but of what he represents.
a mortal who refuses.
A soul shaped by suffering but not defined by it. A crack in the foundation of their power.
If one mortal can refuse, others can too. And if enough refuse, the gods stop.
Astarion does not delude himself. He is not winning. The Chaos Gods are eternal. They have fed on mortal suffering since before humanity crawled from its cradle.
One vampire cannot end them.
But he can annoy them. He can disrupt them. He can be a thorn that never stops cutting. And in a universe where victory is impossible, spite is enough. He continues his work.
World after world. Cult after cult.
Sometimes he saves thousands.
Sometimes he saves only one. It does not matter.
Each act of defiance is a statement.
I am here. I choose.
You do not own me. The warp churns around him, and demons whisper his name with frustration. The Imperium marks him as unknown asset.
Chaos marks him as nuisance.
Astarion smiles. For the first time in his long, painful existence, he is exactly what he wants to be.
Not a hero. Not a villain. Just free.
The Imperium Nihilus is a place where hope goes to die. Cut off from the light of the Astronomicon, separated from Terra by the Great Rift, it is a realm of darkness and desperation. Worlds here face horrors without support, without reinforcement. They die slowly, consumed by chaos or xenos or simple entropy. Astarion walks these worlds.
He does not save them.
One vampire, no matter how skilled, cannot turn back the tide of damnation. But he can be present.
He can fight when fighting matters.
He can choose who lives and who dies. On a world besieged by Nurgle cultists, he kills plague-bearers until his blades are slick with unnatural fluids. He does not cure the plague, but he buys time for evacuations.
For the strong to carry the weak.
For children to reach the last transport. When the ship lifts off, he watches from the ruins. Does not board. There is no place for him among the saved. On a world where a demon prince demands worship or annihilation, Astarion infiltrates the inner sanctum and kills the mortal priest sustaining the manifestation. The demon screams as its anchor to reality dissolves.
It is not banished forever, but it is banished today.
The people do not know who saved them. They credit the Emperor. Astarion does not correct them. On a world where the Inquisition has branded an entire district heretical and plans to purge it, Astarion smuggles out those he can verify as innocent.
Hundreds, not thousands. But hundreds is more than zero.
When the purge begins, he vanishes into the smoke.
He does not seek gratitude, does not want recognition.
He simply moves from crisis to crisis, doing what he can with the tools he has.
His blades,
his speed, his refusal to quit.
Sometimes he feeds on the guilt.
Sometimes he feeds on the dying, those who will not last the hour. He takes only what he needs, no more. The hunger is constant, but it does not control him.
Not anymore.
He encounters space marines occasionally. Some recognize him.
Some do not.
Those who do treat him with wary respect. They do not call him brother. But they do not call him enemy either. He is anomaly.
Useful. Tolerated. It is more than he expected. He encounters other vampires once.
A coven hiding in a dead city, preying on refugees. They see him and smile, thinking him kin. Thinking he will join them. Astarion kills them all. He is vampire, yes.
But he is not them. Years pass. Decades. Astarion loses track. Time in the Imperium Nihilus is fluid, unreliable.
Some worlds experience faster time flow than others. He might age a year while a planet ages a century.
But he persists.
On a nameless world, he sits on a ruined wall and watches the sky. The great rift churns above, colors that should not exist bleeding into reality.
It is beautiful in a terrible way.
A wound in the universe that will never heal. A voice interrupts his thoughts. You are the one they call the Pale Shadow.
Astarion turns.
A girl, no older than 12, stands behind him. She wears rags and holds a rusted knife. Her eyes are too old for her face. I have been called many things, he says.
You killed the cult leaders.
Saved my family.
I happened to be passing through.
The girl sits beside him.
She does not seem afraid.
You are vampire.
I am.
My mother says vampires are demons.
That they drink souls.
Your mother is half right. I drink blood. But I am no demon. Then what are you? Astarion considers the question.
He has asked it himself countless times.
In Cazadores dungeons. In the warp. On burning worlds and broken streets.
I am someone who chooses, he says finally. Every day.
What kind of monster I will be. The girl nods as though this makes perfect sense.
Will you stay?
No. There are others who need help. I must keep moving.
Will you come back?
Astarion looks at her. Sees hope in her eyes. Hope that someone cares. That someone will protect them. He could lie. Could promise to return.
It would cost him nothing.
But he has had enough of lies.
I do not know, he says honestly. I go where I am needed. But if I can, I will. The girl smiles. It is a small thing, fragile.
Thank you.
She leaves. Astarion watches her go, then turns back to the sky.
He will not save the Imperium.
Will not end chaos. Will not become legend or saint or hero. But he will continue. One world at a time.
One life at a time.
Because he has learned the truth that gods and empires hate most. Meaning is not granted from above. It is built from below.
One choice. One act.
One refusal to surrender. He is Astarion.
Vampire.
Survivor.
Monster. He was made by cruelty. Shaped by suffering. Broken by abuse.
But he is not defined by those things.
He is defined by what he does next.
And what he does next is stand.
He stands when hope is gone. He stands when gods demand submission. He stands when the universe itself tells him to kneel. He stands because he can. And in the endless night of the Imperium Nihilus, that is enough. Not a star.
Not a savior.
Just a pale shadow that refuses to fade. And sometimes, just sometimes, that is all the light anyone needs.